Hello, my friends. Welcome in. It's episode 2 of our new FM18 Experiment Winner Wipeout. If you don't know what's going on, go back and check the intro and episode 1 out. That came out a little while ago. What we are going to be doing today, if you're not familiar, is we're essentially taking the winner of the Premier League, and on July 1st of the following season, we are wiping out their bank balance, their transfer budget, and their wage budget, and we're knocking their reputation down to 1 to see if that shakes things up in the Premier League, if they have to sell a bunch of players. Chelsea was our first victim. We are now moving on to Arsenal because they won the league when we wiped Chelsea out. It says they're first in the Premier League. That's because it's alphabetical order and we're already in the next season. But it looks like they finished 6th. And Man United won the title. So let's go take a look to see how close it was. Oh, no. Sorry. Man United, 94 points. Man City on 93 points. Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea have recovered to 5th and Arsenal to 6th. Does this look familiar to anybody? So essentially, if you go back to this season, you knock Arsenal down to 6th, and you move everybody else up 1, and you swap Liverpool and Tottenham. Apparently. So is it going to be impossible to break the top 6 apart? What else do we have to do? I'm not sure. Let's go take a look at Arsenal to see what they did. Okay, they've got a new manager, Nigel Pearson. You can't see down here. He was the head coach at Old Heverly Leuven from the Belgian Proximus League. Interesting selection. Was the Derby County head coach in 2016, and before that he was at Leicester, Hull, and then before that Leicester. Okay, so they've brought in a new manager. So does that mean, let's take a look. He resigned. We wiped out the wage budget, and he resigned 24 days later. He's like, forget this. I'm out. I don't need this. And then they picked up, okay, they've had another one. They picked up Roberto Martinez, and he made a go of it until May, and then probably when they didn't make the Europa League, he got the sack. And now they picked up Nigel Pearson. Okay, interesting. So let's go take a look at their transfers. Okay, this is last season. Okay, you can discount this one because that was before we wiped them out. So they didn't pay any money for anybody throughout the entire season, and they sold 11.75 million. Who, like, was there a big one? Christian Bielik to West Ham for 2.3. It's not really. 1.5. Emilio Martinez for 3.2. They really didn't make any big moves. So did they just absorb it? Okay. And again, this is probably after they've received their, TV revenue and their sponsorship money. So that this shouldn't have had an impact at all. All right, we're going to do what we did the last time. We're going to make me just temporarily, I'm not going to save it, the manager, so we can take a look at their finances in greater detail. I'm really confused. You would think getting completely wiped out financially would, just absolutely ruin you. Okay, so this is when we wiped him out, and it didn't wipe him out completely. What happened? I definitely took him to 0. Like, that definitely happened. And they've recovered. They've got 99. To be fair, they had 222 million in the bank. So, like, we've made a dent. But that is strange. They lost, essentially, with that being wiped out, they lost 145 million because we took away the 222. So they were able to, what? Make 80 million back? Let's take a look. Okay, big chunk of TV revenue. That's last month, just 42 million last month. But throughout the season, 136 million. That'll solve a bunch of problems now, won't it? Sponsorship, strangely enough, less than Chelsea. So we wiped them out, and it looks like they've got 52 million this season. And Chelsea, it was like 115. So I mean, significantly less than half of what Chelsea got essentially at the end of the season after being wiped out. Interesting stuff, people. What else we got? Season tickets was nice. I wonder if that hit later in the season or later in July. We might need to adjust because they picked up some more here, but okay. Fans are sticking with them. And then they got some prize money. What would that be? Champions League probably be right here. But that's only 12 million. But the bank balance didn't even really go to zero. So they weren't. I wonder if we need to like take them down from a financial perspective, like put them in the red. Maybe that's an adjustment we make after we run through this series for a few seasons. If it turns out like it does nothing to the top six, maybe we make an adjustment and just knock them down into the negatives. I'm assuming you can do that, but let's check. I'm not going to save this, so it doesn't really matter. You can see their reputation has recovered to 2347, so again, about 25% of where they were. Can you make it negative? Okay, that's 200,000. I really wish they had commas. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can make it negative. That might be what we have to do to really get an impact here. Again, I'm not going to save this. So let's go now back to the Premier League. Take a look at Manchester United. And, oh no, we need to go look at Chelsea. We can do that without having to reload. Let's go take a look here. Again, I'm not going to save, so that negative 200 million isn't going to count. Okay, same manager. Okay, so at the end, okay, that's this coming season. Let's go at the last season. Wow. 196 million sold. Now that to me is interesting. Because if you go back here, they only sold 42.5 million, and this is the season they got wiped out. The next season, they brought in 19 million and sold 196 million. Was that to get them back to where they were financially? We'll take over Chelsea here in a second and look at the bank balance to see, because that to me would indicate maybe we're making a dent in their long-term future. We talked about that last episode. Is will it take a couple seasons if they're having to continually sell players to make up that bank balance? Does that impact their capabilities moving forward? I mean, they finished 5th, so you'd think not, right? Plus Chelsea's got like 6 million people on loan in real life. But they sold, okay, we already knew about these two. Okay, and then, okay, N'Golo Kante for 44.5 million. Emerson for 6.5. Victor Moses for 9.5. David Luiz for 13.75. As Piliqueta, if I can get that out. It's been a minute since the Premier League's been on. You got to get that right in your head. 34.5 million. Okay, Eden Hazard, 51 million. PSG has raided Chelsea, and it continues. Umuero to Ajax for 6.5. Tammy Abraham for 11 million to Burnley. This to me is really curious because they only picked up 19 million. And then looking at here, they've sold another 28. Wait, they sold Willian to Tottenham and someone named Casey Palmer that I'm not familiar with. So let's look at their details. If you look at the overview, they're back to a local reputation. I wonder if those players wanted to leave because they've got, an obscure reputation, now a local reputation. They're at 1552, so they have not recovered. That's actually gone down a little bit, hasn't it, from where they were? Because I want to say they were like 2,000 something at the end of last episode. And now they've got, okay, commas would be fantastic. 330 million in the bank. They've got more than they did at the end of last season and more than when we wiped him out the season before. What does their roster look like? Courtois. They recalled Matt Miazga. They're actually apparently playing him. I don't know if that means he's starting, but I mean he's in the 11 right now. Ross Barkley's still here. Morata's still here. Danny Drinkwater, Marcos Alonso, Zappacosta. Charlie Brown, that is a fantastic name. Batshuayi. Maybe that means we don't need to wipe him out into the negatives. That's something we'll definitely look at in the future. We want to run this for 5 or 10 seasons to see what happens. But that, to me, is very, very curious that it wasn't the season. I mean, they sold one player, right? But it wasn't really then that damaged them from at least a selling perspective. It was the season after. Again, I wonder if it has something to do with the reputation. Like if all these players are like, I want to go play for a higher reputation team, and then you go to PSG for that. Maybe not Brighton, but PSG. Although to be fair, I would guess Brighton's reputation is better. Yes, it is. Okay, that was unexpected. All of this has been unexpected. I'm gonna pause now and reload it again because I don't want to put Arsenal at negative 200 million and get the manager fired, and then we'll go do the business with Manchester United. Here we go. Wiping out Manchester United. Reputation 1. Finances. What is this? Let's count. 137 million, almost 138 million in the bank. Transfer budget of 45 million and payroll budget of 4.2 a week. No sugar daddy. Wiping them out. They're now obscure. Manchester United are now obscure. I don't think that's ever going to happen in real life. We're not going to handle that in this episode. We are going to go to the next episode to see. Again, now I'm more interested in not just what happens in Manchester United, but taking a look at kind of the next year for Chelsea and Arsenal to see if they run through the same thing. If their players want to leave because of the reputation, or the owner wants to recoup some of that investment, even though what they've recouped is much more than what they had when they started. So that's what we'll do next time. I really appreciate you being here. If you're enjoying this series, make sure you hit the like button. Leave a comment. Let me know who you think's going to win the title. Because what we've done thus far is we've not been able to break up the top 6. So will Manchester United, will they finish 6th? Because does that make the most sense? Drop them down to 6th and bump everybody up 1. What do you think is going to happen? Leave that comment. Check out this stuff over here and up there. And we will see you next time. Have a good one.